Wait a minute. Is the mic on? Sorry.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 1-17006, Jeffrey Cusick and Stephen Corbellini, 117 Walnut Road, San Remo. The location of the property, the east side of Walnut Road, 42 feet north of Highland Drive. The property is zoned R43. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 100 to 16 feet existing, reduce the minimum side yard from 24 to 3 feet, and total side yards from 60 feet to 8 feet. Reduce the distance from any lot line from 10 feet to 3 feet for an existing 544 square foot bi-level deck. Reduce the minimum side yard from 24 to 7 feet existing for a proposed 37 square foot addition. Increase the maximum gross floor area from 20 to 71%, 69% existing, for a proposed 37 square foot second floor addition. Permit environmentally sensitive land, slopes in excess of 15% to be altered. Reduce lot area from 4,000 to 2,000 square feet due to environmentally sensitive land. Permit structures within 10 feet of any slope greater than 15%.
And your name, please.
Jeff Cusick,
And your address, Jeff?
117 Walnut Road, Kings Park.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman. As this is a rehearing, do we start and go through everything or just the issues addressed since
You
the
can
last
just
hearing?
go through the issues.
All right, so I'll go through my letter dated November 19th, 2013. First item was upon the review, it was noted that there was 30 feet of fencing on the Arthur Coons County Park that has been removed and cleared as
Okay.
per request. The pending variance inaccuracy, we've gone through and updated the requested variance for the environmentally sensitive land and recalculated the FAR, and all that's included in the what's being requested currently. We've submitted additional photographs as depicted, and the survey has been updated to depict the fencing that wasn't on the survey submitted last time. The LWRP has given us a de minimis ruling that they're not interested. Also, the DEC has issued a letter of non-jurisdiction, and through the course of this, it has been noted that apparently the side of Walnut Road here is actually an R43 zone as opposed to an R10 zone, which is what we had spoken about at the last hearing, being R10. So it's a rare condition here that with a 4,000 square foot land, we're zoned for 43,000 square feet. So we are only seeking to add a 37 square foot addition to the house and increase the FAR about 2% after the environmentally sensitive land and all the calculations are added in there, and to legalize a deck that has been existing since prior to my ownership in 2005.
Okay. Planning?
No comment. It's pretty de minimis.
Do they need an LWRP?
I have to check. I believe the previous town attorney may have said that they don't have to. I have to get back to you on that. I'll find out.
Okay.
In my letter from Mr. DeRubis here, it does indicate that they would treat that small increase as a de minimis and should not make my application inconsistent with the visual policy of the LWRP. And I have that available.
Could you just read that again? Should not make the...
With respect to the LWRP, it is the policy of the Planning Department to treat such a small increase from the existing floor area ratio as a de minimis expansion that should not make your application inconsistent with the visual policy of the LWRP.
Okay. I'm not sure of the whole context. It sounds good. I hope it is.
Okay. I do too.
You know, it's one of those things like you have to know what's before and after it and stuff.
Okay.
So I'll find out for sure. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that'd like to be heard on this application? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's rarely moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 1-17173, Joseph Civilli, 9 R.J. Lane, Comac, the location of the property, the north side of R.J. Lane, 318 feet east of Shinbone Lane. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a special exception to permit living quarters for parents, variance of a special exception standard to increase temporary living quarters from 680 square feet to 750 square feet, variance to increase the FAR from 25 to 27% for a proposed 125 square foot first floor addition, 158 square foot attached garage addition, and 82 square foot second floor addition.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, my name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicants. I've submitted the affidavit of posting and mailing to David Flynn. I've also read the PAR from the planning department and agree, obviously, with their recommendation to approve and their conditions with respect to filing a covenant and filing a covenant. The special exception standards for this particular special exception are as follows. The general standards already are indicated in the PAR report, so I won't waste everybody's time with it. But the temporary living quarters for a parent. My client purchased this property with the intention of having his parents, who are here tonight also, to live with him. And having decided to do that, he needs this special exception tonight. The residents, the first special standard is the residents of the proposed use shall be members of the immediate family of the residents of the main dwelling, mom and pop and son. So that's certainly complied with the issue of Special 1 or Special A. There shall not be more than one separate temporary dwelling unit. There isn't. There's just one. It is more than 600 square feet. As you know, we're requesting just a little bit more in the 700 range. It complies with 4% of the lot up to 1,000 square feet. The floor plan submitted with the application shall show that it is economical and practical to convert the use back to a single-family residence, and the applicant shall file a deed with the County of Suffolk. We talked about the covenants before in the other case, and Mr. Civilli has indicated that he will turn it back to a single-family dwelling. The proposed use shall be for an initial period of 3 years and renewable, provided the residents of the premises are still there, and obviously we will comply with that. There are separate cooking facilities which will be, again, removed when the need no longer exists for the separate living quarters. The variances that we're requesting are certainly not substantial, and they have no effect on the environment. Whether the difficulty was self-created, we don't think it is, and it's just a minor increase from 25 to 27%. That's a 2% increase, which is really de minimis. The son would certainly like mom and pop to live with him, and his wife and his family. That means meatballs and gravy every Sunday, and that's a good thing. So we asked the board for its favorable consideration. If the board has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or from Mr. Civilli or Mom and Pop Civilli.
Planning? Gentlemen? No question. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Is really moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Okay, case 17022 West Development has been adjourned to December 9th. Now, okay. No.
No.
Huh? Yeah, I'm going to just make my statement. I don't know if I have to, but. Okay. Yep, that does. All right. I'm just going to make a statement, but I know you will be very cooperative. I know the next two cases are high interest to this community. I will ask the applicant or the attorney to present their case. Then I will allow everyone one opportunity to be heard. So please, your remarks have to be factual to what is presented, what the variances are. As a board, our decisions are based on 5 criteria that are posted here before you. It is very important that this hearing and the other hearing after this is fair and orderly. There'll be no calling out, talking from the audience. There'll be no applause or outburst. Everyone needs to cooperate so the court stenographer here can hear and record all your statements. Then I'm going to ask, after everyone's finished speaking, the one time, then I will ask the attorney or the applicant to come back and answer your concerns. And I thank you for your cooperation. All right, you want to now do the next case,
All
please?
righty. Madam Chair, the next case on the agenda, number 17182, Decanio Management Corp., 117 Terry Road, Smithtown. The location of the property, the east side of Terry Road, 426 feet north of Route 347. The property is zoned NB. The applicant requests a variance to permit environmentally sensitive lands to be altered, to permit structures within 10 feet of any slope higher than 15% for a 6,000 square foot building.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, my name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicant. I've submitted the affidavits of posting and mailing to David Flynn. This is probably the last or the second to the last piece from a project that started, I guess, 20 years ago, known as Big Hill. And it's very descriptive of why was it called Big Hill? Because it was a big hill, and we had to do tremendous modifications to the property as it was developed. And as you know, right now there are a number of stores on 347, on Smithtown Boulevard, or what is that, Terry Road or Smithtown Boulevard? I forget. There is, well, on the corner of 347 and Smithtown Boulevard, Terry Road is a Walgreens, and then there's a Two at a Time, and there's an entranceway to Avalon, and there are residential houses in there, condominiums and apartments. And the project was one of the major successes of our recently retired Frank DeRubius, along with Mr. Decanio, who was the developer of the project, and he's still around. And now he would like to construct basically an office building on the site, as opposed to any other more intense use Because of the terrain of the property and because of the rollingness of it, if you will, we're here tonight and we're asking you for a variance with respect to those steep slopes. If you look at the second board, the one that's on the floor, it kind of depicts all the rolling part of the property in red, and you can see it's almost half the property that had to be modified over the years. And it really was a good job, not only from our point of view as the developer, but also from the town's point of view, who really assisted Decanio Management, Avalon, and all the other participants to make this project the largest project in Smithtown, and probably the most successful one. All of the apartments are usually rented. There are very few vacancies. The condos are all sold out, and the small individual houses, the same thing. They are at a premium. People want to live there. You know, when you drive in across from Maureen's Kitchen, you have the CVS that's right there. So it's a great project, and this is just probably one of the last pieces that we would like to put together with this board's permission, and of course the Board of Site Plan Review, the town board, in cooperation with the planning department. We do have a picture of the proposed building, which, okay, you have it. That's what we would like to build there. Again, it's an office building. It's a much less intense use than what we could put there. Neighborhood business, we could put a restaurant, we could put a lot of things that would create a lot more traffic than this office building. Also, it's a beautiful building, and it's certainly not something that would be any kind of detriment to the area or the community. So we ask the board for its favorable consideration. I have Steve Hyman here if you have any engineering questions. We think it's a good project, and ask the board for its favorable consideration.
Thank you. Planning?
I would just ask the board to be aware that normally disturbing steep slopes is not a good idea. There's a purpose for it in the zoning ordinance for erosion and vegetation and wildlife and water pollution and a whole bunch of reasons. But in this situation, it's difficult to say that these slopes should be preserved for basically two reasons. One is this is the last piece, or no, one of the last two pieces of the puzzle of what was called the Galleria after it was called Big Hill Enterprises. And if you could roll back the clock to the 1970s, it probably would have been better to have preserved the Big Hill with all of the trees on it. But if you're familiar with the Avalon area, all of the Big Hill has been removed except for what's left of this piece. And it wouldn't make sense to leave this kind of like the setting on a Wile E. Coyote cartoon where the one mesa, whatever, sticks up and everything else is below it. And then the second thing is altering the slopes here would not likely have an effect beyond the site itself. The site is not next to any wetlands or habitats or surface waters. The erosion can be controlled, and the nature of everything that's around it is such that it's just not in a sensitive location. So therefore, we'd recommend approval in this circumstance.
Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, any other questions?
No question.
Thank you so much. Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Come line up, please.
My
My name is Dennis Lascala, 15 Heritage Place South. I've been living in Wisconsin
First of all, wait a minute, slow down.
Okay.
Okay, let me have your name and spell your last name for the court stenographer.
Dennis Lascala, L-A, capital S-C-A-L-A,
Okay, and your address.
15 Heritage Place South.
Okay, and raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so make sure he can
Okay.
understand.
Unfortunately, this is the first time I've heard of this project. I thought that project was complete, and I would have to contradict everything I'm hearing about the environmental impact that it's having on the town. Yes, it might be an office building, but there is plenty of office space and building in this area. I don't see how we're improving or enhancing anything in our town. We're taking away all the trees, all the sponge. We're having drainage problems. We're having flooding problems, especially the recent times. And I just don't see how this is going to be enhancing anything in our area. It's a major thoroughfare. If you're ever going down Terry Road, which I think everyone probably has during a Sunday, Saturday, where there's a high traffic area, people crossing the street to go to restaurants and so forth, it's just going to increase a lot of traffic and possibly hazardous conditions. And again, one of the biggest things we're doing, taking away basically the quality of life in terms of the trees and the nature and everything else that we're supposed to be known for. And we're just putting up another office building, another issue, and you know, I think their project should be done after 20 years. They haven't touched it. Why is it impactful now for them to do so?
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Dave, do you have that letter, just to put it on the record, the name of the gentleman? Just to put it on the record, so he knows that we did do it?
So I understand that you want to make part of the record the letter by Julius Soller, S-O-L-L-E-R, regarding this application.
Yes, please. Thank you. Okay, no one else? Mr. Tramarko, anything?
What does the letter say? I mean, you're going to make a letter part of the record, and we don't know what it states.
Do you want to read it? Can you read the writing? Okay.
The letter is from Mr. Julius Soller, 120 Terry Road, Smithtown, New York. It's dated August 20th, 2014. It's addressed to Honorable Patrick R. Vecchio, Smithtown Town Hall, 99 West Main Street, Smithtown, New York, 11787. And it's copied to the 4 council people. And I know that this board was forwarded the letter from the supervisor and from at least one of the council people. And I believe the supervisor said that he would ask you to make it part of the record. The letter says, Honorable Patrick R. Vecchio, I respectfully request the Smithtown Town Board read this letter out loud and discuss at the board meeting the following recommendations for variance 17,182, which is to be considered on September 9th, 2014 at the Smithtown Senior Citizen Center. 1, provide sufficient drainage for rain or flood water to be retained within the property lines of the 2 new buildings to be constructed. The rain or flood waters should not be allowed to flow downhill westerly across Terry Road and downhill along South Avenue and adjoining properties. There are several homes along South Avenue in which presently already have water seeping into their basements when it rains. 2, improve the traffic control and flow to counteract the large increase in traffic which will result from the 2 new buildings. This can be done by adding additional lanes on the east side of Terry Road and by installing a new traffic light at Cherry Road and South Avenue. This new traffic light should be timed with the traffic light at Maureen's Kitchen. Respectfully yours, Julius Solar, and then copied to the 4 council people, and Mr. Mitchell Crowley, who is the town's traffic safety director.
Thank you. I just want to make one other comment. The gentleman that came up and talked about we didn't do anything for 20 years, and I guess the premise of that is, since we didn't do anything, why don't we leave it as a vacant piece of property? And I certainly understand his feelings about having vacant land and open space, but this is certainly not a place for open space, considering, number one, the economics of it and the cost of it, and number two, it's my fault that I wasn't clear, but in neighborhood business, there could be a lot more intensive uses than an office building, including fast food restaurants and certain uses that would be certainly much more objectionable than what we have here. As a matter of fact, maybe it was 7 or 8 years ago, we did come in on this property with a request for an Arby's. And I think the audience that you see here tonight, at least the numbers of people came out and voiced their objections about the increased traffic and so forth. And the board took it to heart and denied that application. Maybe they were right, maybe you were right, maybe you weren't. But here we're coming in with an office building. More benign than that, I agree with the gentleman, would be nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's very moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. May I have those papers, please? Thanks. Okay, now, when you read this, the only thing you're going to read now is the variances for the signs. Am I correct? The other variances are going to be, they're taken out.
Well, that's correct, yes.
Okay,
So just the sign variances.
just the sign variances.
Give me 1 second.
Huh? Yeah. I'll just explain to the audience that this request for a special exception to permit parking in a residential district adjoining to and use located in the business district has been taken out. They are not going into the residential district. There's no special exception. Variance to reduce the minimum parking setback from the west property line from 6 feet to 7. 0 existing has been taken out. They're not doing that variances also. So the only variances they're doing will be the sign variances, and that's what you will be able to speak about are the signs. All right, at that time, will you read the variances, please?
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17192, Nesconset DD3 LLC Dunkin' Donuts,
Okay.
223 Smithtown Boulevard, Nesconset. The location of the property, the northwest corner of Smithtown Boulevard and Lancaster Avenue. The property is zoned NB. The applicant requests a variance to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 to 17 feet, increase the number of ground signs from 1 to 4, increase the number of wall signs from 1 to 2, increase the number of awning signs from 1 to 2, permit a wall sign not to face a public street, permit 2 awning signs with writing not on the bottom flap.
May I have your name, please?
Hello, everyone. Anthony Palizzi,
And your address?
10 Eastgate Road, Huntington, New York, 11743.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Do you need a spelling of his last name, please?
Pellizzi.
And what is your position?
I am the owner of the Dunkin' Donuts that's going to be built at this property. I'm also the property owner.
Okay. Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes, he can speak on my behalf.
Okay, thank you. May I have your name, please?
Carmine Grasso, Cataldo Grasso Architects, office at 14 Carl Avenue, Smithtown, New York.
All right, raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman, members of the board, I am here to represent Nesconstant DD3 LLC. In their application, the project entails converting an existing bakery into a Dunkin' Donuts with a drive-through. The business hours of the Dunkin' Donuts are going to be from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Just want to make it clear that it's not a 24-hour open facility. It's only going to be open till 10 p.m. To accomplish this, this revision to the site modification, we're going to be demolishing the existing Ralph's Ices space that's on the westerly side of the building to accommodate the new drive-through that we're putting in. This is a permitted use in the district. It's an NB zoning district, so the drive-through and the Dunkin' Donuts is a permitted use. As you had said before, we originally were looking for additional variances, but we've had multiple meetings with the planning department, discussions with the Suffolk County Department of Public Works, and we came up with a plan that is now before you. There are going to be no variances required for the site work. As we said, the 10-foot setback to the residence district is being maintained. We're going to be providing the required 6-foot minimum setback to the west property line, where existing there is no setback at all. So we're withdrawing both of the setback requests. The only variances, as you said, that we're requesting are for the signage. Again, the site as it is now, with the exception of the signage, can be constructed as of right without going to the Board of Appeals. It would just require a site plan review from the planning department. So in regards to the signs, what we're looking to do is increase the number of ground signs permitted from 1 to 4. I'm just going to move over here to make it a little easier to see what we're doing. The first ground sign, which is permitted as of right, would be, the thing's not working too well, but right over here,
have the
there's
sign?
going to be a new
Just
pylon
wait
sign.
1 second then. Do you have the signs in your folder there? So you can all look at them? Yep, there they are. Okay. We'll share these. Okay. We'll share. Go ahead.
Okay. The first sign that we're dealing with is the a pylon sign at the intersection of Lancaster Avenue and Smithtown Boulevard. There's currently a sign there right now. That sign will be coming down, and a new pylon sign that you see there will be put in its place. It's a code compliant sign. It's 32 square feet. It's 15 feet high, and it meets the setback requirements. So no variance is required for that sign. The second sign that would be considered a ground sign is right here. This is the menu board for the drive-through. The town considers that a sign. Obviously, it's a necessity for any kind of a drive-through facility. Third sign that we'd be installing would be right over here. It's right at the entrance. It's a very small sign, low to the ground. It's a directional sign that basically shows the entrance to the drive-through lane. It's 3 feet off the ground, and it's 3 square feet. Very, very minimal size sign. And the other sign that would be located here would, right next to that or adjacent to that, at the entrance to the drive-through, is a height restriction bar. You have a copy of all these signs there. The height restriction bar is not illuminated. It's just a bar that will prevent any cars over 9 feet tall from going into the drive-through. The reason for that is at the drive-through entrance, at the drive-through window, there is an overhang to protect the customers that are going to be going up to the window from the weather, and that's 9 feet, just over 9 feet high. So we don't want any larger vehicles going in there hitting the canopy. So again, that's something that would really be necessary in any drive-through. As far as additional signage, there is going to be 2 wall signs. We're asking for an increase from 1 to 2. The first wall sign would be located right at the main entrance of the building. We're also requesting a variance for the height on that wall sign.
Okay.
The maximum height allowed is 15 feet. We're requesting a variance up to 17 feet. The actual height of the sign would be 16 foot 10. Again, the sign itself meets all the other requirements of the code. It's just that the height variance is required. There is an additional wall sign that would be located right over the drive-through window. Very small sign. It's 11 square feet. It's basically a Dunkin' Donuts logo over the drive-through. The reason for that sign is twofold. One, it's to help guide people that are coming into the site to see where the drive-through window is. And second, it provides some visibility for people traveling east on Smithtown Boulevard. We were concerned that if people coming down east on Smithtown Boulevard, if they don't see the pylon sign until they pass the entrance to the site, they would be forced to go down to Lancaster Avenue and turn into the access from Lancaster. So we're trying to get everybody going in from Smithtown Boulevard. The other two signs that we're looking for variances for are awning signs. Again, one awning sign is permitted underneath the wall sign. There would be an awning sign right underneath the wall sign right at the main entrance, and then there was one other sign over the front doors, over the windows, excuse me, adjacent to the front entrance. Both awning signs, I gave you a little photo there to show you what they're made of. They're brown signs with some small tan lettering on them. They don't fit the criteria of the town's requirements for an awning sign because the town wants a diagonal sign with an 8-inch flap and only writing on the flap, right? It would be the bottom one of those. This is just a diagonal sign with no flap, and the writing is on the diagonal, which it would require another variance. Those signs are a standard of the franchise, the Dunkin' Donuts franchise. We feel they're fairly attractive awnings. They're not, the colors are very benign. They're brown with tan lettering, so it's nothing that's going to be too bold. The signage is very important to the franchise. It helps make potential customers driving down the road recognize the brand image and come into the site. The amount of signs that we're looking for are very similar to what you see on drive-throughs all over town. In fact, just recently, the board had approved more signage at the new Burger King on Jericho Turnpike in Smithtown, just the western part of Smithtown. In that case, they have 4 wall signs and 7 ground signs. We're only looking for 2 wall signs, 2 small awning signs, and 4 ground signs, 2 of which are really required for a drive-through. In regard to the 5 conditions, the 5 area considerations, variance would not produce an impact on adjacent properties or the neighborhood because part of what we're doing for this is we're planting a densely planted buffer between the residential property and the subject property, and it's also going to improve the condition of the building and the site. The request is not going to be substantial because the signage is typical of other drive-through businesses in town, so it's a very typical application. The benefit cannot be achieved by an alternative because the signage is necessary for the drive-through, so we really need it. The variance would not cause an adverse effect on the environment because the signage requests are minimal and typical of drive-through businesses again, and the proposed work will actually improve the appearance of the property. There is definitely going to be much more landscaping on the property now than what was there before. And the difficulty was created by the applicant because he's looking to install signage that doesn't comply with the zoning ordinance in order to help him have a competitive business in a very difficult market right now. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Can I ask you a couple of things with the signs?
Sure, go ahead.
Do you need this welcome back?
No, the welcome back sign isn't the one. It's actually,
Is this one, just this plan?
Well, no, it's actually this one.
Okay,
Their thing shows that sign, but it's actually this sign going on that.
okay. So you're not having welcome back or see
No,
you
it's
soon?
just going to say drive-through, pointing to the drive-through entrance.
Okay,
And it would not be facing the residential district. The
Okay.
drive-through sign is going to be facing the front of the property.
okay. Planning?
Madam Chair, I think our main concern is we wouldn't want to see a national brand get more concessions than small businesses with respect to the signs. I understand it's competitive, but it just doesn't seem fair to give a national brand more signage and then the local delis and bakeries not have the same competitive advantage. Having said that, I mean, certainly if you're going to have a drive-through, you need a menu board. But it does look like there's some room to either reduce the height or quantity of signs. I'm not sure why a 15-foot high sign is not a viable alternative, or why fewer signs are not a viable alternative. But certainly we'd recommend the board grant the minimum variance necessary for the applicant to achieve their objective.
Okay. Planning, gentlemen, any other questions? Okay.
If I could just address Mr. Flynn's comments.
Mhm.
As far as the national brand getting more, I guess, getting favor over a local brand or a local business, what we're really looking for is just typical of any drive-through. It's not whether it would be a national brand or Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's or anything. It's just these are the signs that are really necessary for a drive-through to operate properly. As far as the height of the sign at the front of the building, yes, it's not greatly over the 15 feet height restriction. It just fits in better with the design of the building to have it at that height. The front entrance element is a standard of Dunkin' Donuts, and to make it look right on that entrance element, if we dropped it down to 15 feet, it would look like it's too low and there'd be too much space above it. And as far as the additional wall sign on over the drive-through entrance, it's that side of the building would be completely bare if there was nothing there. So it just gives people driving down Smithtown Boulevard a visual of the Dunkin' Donuts with the drive-through right there, so they could see it, and hopefully, for my client's sake, turn in and use his business.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. If you'd like to be heard on this application, please, but I'm going to remind you, you can only talk on the signs, okay? So, go ahead, whoever wants to line up, if you want to talk about the signs, that's perfectly okay. May I have your name, please?
Ali Nazir,
And your address, Ali?
56 Gannett Drive, Comac, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead. Spelling.
Nazir, first name Ali.
Okay.
Hi, Chairwoman, esteemed members of the board. I'm here representing Legislator John Kennedy, and I would just like to voice our opposition to the signage relief. Legislator Kennedy also has sent a letter, which, after speaking with the chairwoman, would be inappropriate to read in its entirety. However, I would like to submit it for record, if at all possible.
It's about traffic. Is that okay? All right.
All right. I have 5 copies.
Okay, thank you.
Also, there's an attachment that is not with the letter that will be sent out to you guys tomorrow. We had some technical difficulties regarding that.
No. Once this case is closed, I cannot accept anything else.
All right, then I will try my best to get it into you today in the next few minutes.
Okay?
All right? Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next, please.
Hi, my name is Dawn Gary, Gary, and I live at 22 Lancaster Avenue in Nesconset.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. If we're only permitted to speak about signage, I'll address the area variances before us. The character of the signage would show an undesirable change as the current landscape of the its neighborhood businesses, delis, bakeries, Italian ice. The signage is small, it's all in conformity. Everyone has one. There's not these big signs that are illuminated, so it would change the character of our neighborhood. The benefit that, just like the other businesses in the area, for item 2, the other stores get business from their current signage, so why should a national chain be given more signage than the stores currently there? This is substantial, as it does change our community. Bringing in a national chain with bigger signage would be at the detriment of the current businesses in our location. It would have an adverse effect on our neighborhood, being residents having to look at the appearance of bigger signs. And I'm not sure if the architect had spoken about the illumination of the signs, if any illumination will cascade off the property onto our residents, as if I could. There is 2 residents directly across Lancaster Avenue from the property, as well as a residence that shares a border to the north of the property. And the alleged difficulty was self-created. I do have to submit to the board. There was a petition online on change.org signed by over 200 supporters, local residents of our community that are against it was against the initial request, which included the sign variance. So I'm going to submit it because it did include opposition to the sign variances they are requesting. I also have signed by every resident of Lancaster Avenue, Pearson, and Layden Street, the streets directly impacted by this business that are against the proposal, which includes the variance for the signage. And I also have, okay. I actually have a question. It's not with signage, but if someone could direct me to the right department. The site currently has a sewage problem. And will this be corrected? And who do we talk to? And also the curbs along the sidewalks along Lancaster Avenue are in disrepair. Who would we speak to regarding those issues?
I'll have that question answered for you.
Thank you.
After everybody. Okay. Next, please.
Edward Gary, 22 Lancaster Avenue.
Okay. Spell your last name.
Gary, Gary.
Okay. And raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I just want to state that I am aware that the town of Smithtown is very, very strict with signage, and I would just like to say that I think you should maintain that tradition tonight.
Okay.
And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
My name is John Rorick, R-O-R-I-C-K.
Okay.
I live at 13 Pearson Street in Wisconsin.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I just have a question first before we stick with the signage discussion. Where can we get clarification? Because we have some, I'll speak on behalf of my neighbors, some confused folks in regards to other points that we thought were going to be discussed. So as it relates to the drive-through, that's a permissible use of that lot at this point in time?
It is.
Okay, great. So you just destroyed Lancaster Avenue. So on the signage, I just want to make one reference to the architect, I believe, was the gentleman speaking before about the gentleman wanting to make sure he has a competitive business in a very competitive market. I just want to remind him that he has purchased a property that is fully leased and successful under the current signage without these variances. So I see no reason to allow any sort of permissible change in that variance.
Okay.
It's already shown to be a successful application of the current variance that we have on the books with Town of Smithtown.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Next, please.
Robert Giglio,
Oh, you
12
gotta spell that. You gotta spell your last name.
Giglio.
And your address?
12 Merrill Lane, Nesconset.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I want to start off with a question as well with the awnings. As an employee of a national local sign company, I'd like to know if the awnings are a vinyl awning or a canvas awning. Also, are they illuminated?
Okay, I'll ask all these questions.
Okay. As far as the signage goes, I think the having signage on a deck of the awning is far excessive than necessary. Keeping the signage to a 7 or 8 inch valance, I believe it's 7 inch in that zone, I think is more than enough. Height of pylon sign, there's no reason why you would have to increase the height of a pylon sign. There's no aesthetic reason why it would be an advantage, only to be able to see it from further down the road. The increase of number of signs, one being the drive-through, you wouldn't need a height bar if it was redesigned and there was no height limitation as far as a awning or a cover of some sort. There's no real good reason why you'd need it except for rain purposes. So that could be eliminated as well. And the number of ground signs showing where an exit is, such a small square footage sign, I think is insignificant. And I think when you add all these signs together, we're going to set a precedent for other businesses in the area. If this is accepted, they're going to be able to use this case as an example. Also, the example used as a Burger King, I believe, on Jericho Turnpike. I'm not sure if that's a developed property. I don't think so yet. This is not Jericho Turnpike. Right? It's a completely different road. It's very residential, and I think it's just uncalled for in this area.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Emily O'Bray, O''B''R''A''Y. I live at 5 Lancaster Avenue, Nesconset.
Okay.
I live.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I live directly across the site, proposed site. I just want you to know and let it be known that I am against the number of signs that they're requesting. I also work for a sign company. I'm all for promoting the local businesses with signage rather than promoting a franchise looking to move into a local neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Linda Carty, C-A-R-T-Y. I live at 9 Lancaster Avenue, Nesconset, New York.
Good. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I live directly across from where the proposed Dunkin' Donuts is going to be, or they want to be. There was a wooded lot, which is partially across the street from me, that was cleared. I know we're not supposed to talk about this, but they cleared it. This does have to do with the lights, though, because they cleared the woods out without any permits, and we're already getting lights from the businesses that are there. Now they're talking about putting all these additional signs, some illuminated. They'll be shining in our rooms, our bedrooms and stuff at night, even if they're open till 10 o'clock at night. In the winter, it's dark at 4 o'clock. We'll have headlights from the traffic. Nobody mentioned that from the drive-through. And the additional heights of the signs, I think, is totally unnecessary. They should stay in conformity to what is in existence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, please.
Hi, Phyllis Titone, T-I-T-O-N-E, 450 Lake Avenue South, Nesconset.
And raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am. This is the first I'm hearing about this proposed project, but in regard to the signage, whatever is not going to impede the visibility of people driving on Smithtown Boulevard and Lake Avenue when they're coming, it's very close to an intersection that's got a big problem with traffic to begin with. So people taking their eyes off the road to look at these signs is not a good thing. We really have a lot of trouble already, and they're going to know that the Dunkin' Donuts is there, believe me.
Okay.
It's not going to be necessary to have it all illuminated and such. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, Dennis Lascala, 15 Heritage Place South.
Spell your last name
L-A, capital S-C-A-L-A,
and your address.
15 Heritage Place South.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I want to bring out a couple of points. At the beginning of this complete meeting, Ms. Chairwoman, you mentioned part of the goal of the board is, and the panel, is to basically maintain the character of the neighborhood. And this is where I want to consider the character of the hamlet of Wisconsin and what we are. Now, it might not seem a lot where there is 9 signs and some are knee height and so forth, but it is an issue. If you take a look at their competitors, where they're saying that they need this signage and all these issues to stay competitive, Starbucks, they don't have 9 signs on their property. It's not necessary. Take a look at the new Taco Bells that was approved on 347. Their signs are probably about 6-7 feet. Okay, the large sign illuminating on top of their building takes away the character of the neighborhood. The people before me who are saying they're living across the street, what is it going to do to the value of their house if they need to sell and these people turn around and see all this excessive signage? Okay, it takes away competitive balance of the other businesses there. It takes away the blockage of their current signs and issues, and that has to be a consideration of what we are, which is a hamlet. And it takes away the character of our neighborhood.
Right.
Also, it was brought up first where there's going to be a sign at the corner of Smithtown Boulevard and Lancaster Avenue. What's also there is probably about 3 or 4 town signs, county road signs, alert signs for busing in Lake Avenue is 300 feet away. They're looking to raise above those signs and take away the visual impact of our neighborhood, as well as going down Smithtown Boulevard. What's going to happen to basically the town signage that they're going to adjust at this point? What about the street sign that's going to indicate from Lancaster to Smithtown Boulevard? Another issue that I think needs to be brought up is lighting. Is the lighting that might not be saying Dunkin' Donuts on top of it, but shining down on the building when it's at night. Basically showing the sign of Dunkin' Donuts and how that's impacting the area and how the ambient glow will go into the current residents. Okay? Case in point is the factor of residents that live on Francis Avenue and all those issues there with their signage and so on. Okay? Also, I would have to say, what about the speaker? Past 8, 9 o'clock when the person says, "Hi, welcome to Dunkin' Donuts." You got a sign right there. Okay? They're kind of doing the same thing, but that's also a consideration. Point I'm bringing out, it's a little bit more broader than just saying a sign, a bar, something knee high. It takes away the character of our neighborhood in the hamlet of Wisconsin.
Okay.
Thank you
so
very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, please.
Mario Ardizone, A-R-D-I-Z-Z-O-N-E,
And your address, please.
28 Lancaster Avenue.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I live on 20 Lancaster, up the street from where they're proposing this. To save time, I'm agreeing with all my previous people up here. All the same comments. They took the words out of my mouth. I oppose it, and I just want to go on record for that.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Because you're all saying the same thing. Yes, I know. All right. May I have your name, please?
Scott McLean, M-C-L-E-A-N,
Your address?
31 Lancaster Avenue.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I'm completely opposed to all the signs that everybody previously said. The architect brought up a point about traffic flow. That one sign, he said, will direct them how to go in and out of the drive-through. Can you please
Excuse me.
Can he please explain that again?
I'll talk to this board. I'll ask the questions later.
Okay. I'm asking you. Can he please explain that to me again? He said something about a signage that will help to direct the flow that's going to be on
There's an
Lancaster.
exit and an entrance sign, I believe it is.
On Lancaster, correct?
I'll ask him.
Thank you.
Yes.
One other thing I'd like to know is these signs going to be shut off when, he said 5 to 10, are these signs going to be shut off when the place is closed?
Okay, I'll ask.
Okay.
Thank you.
Won't be the last you heard from us. Thanks.
Would- Excuse me. Oh, fine, thank you.
How are you? My name is Joseph Economos. I live at 102 Plymouth Boulevard in Smithtown, 11787. My last name
Raise your
East-
right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I have been the owner of Jekyll's
Excuse me.
Economos, Economos. I've been the owner of Jekyll's Deli for the past just about 3 years now. My father owned it previously since '07. In '09, he applied to have a flag sign put up on our property in front of our store to help increase business. It was denied because they said that only the sign on our building was enough, and we complied with that.
Okay.
And I don't believe that by giving a national business more signage and more advantages when it's difficult enough for small businesses to make it. We've been there for 7 years. We have grown, and we have grown by complying with all the laws that we're supposed to follow. So I believe that by giving them special treatment, it just makes it more difficult for small businesses to grow, and would be unfair. It wouldn't be setting the right tone for people in the neighborhood and what's right, because they're bigger than us, because they're national, that they get special treatment.
Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Next, please.
Edward Koenig, Koenig. I live at 535 Pine Acres Boulevard, Brightwaters, New York. I work around the corner at Carmel Hill Architects, and my family owns the property directly to the
Did
west.
I swear you in?
No,
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
My family owns the property directly to the west, and my question relates to the withdrawal of the variance for the parking going directly up to the west property line. Since that variance has been withdrawn, is the curbing going to be brought directly south down to Smithtown Boulevard now? Because there is on the original site plan, there's an access way shown. If that access way is not going to be closed up, there are going to be cars cutting across our property to exit from Dunkin' Donuts.
There's only one, I think there's only one exit, and it's going to be south. Am I correct?
The Suffolk County Department of Public Works wrote a letter, I believe it's in letter form, saying that they would, and I don't know if the word is require or recommend, that there be cross-access between this property and the property to the west. I'm not sure whether they have the right to compel that or not.
The problem is we live in a very litigious society. The first time someone goes across my property to exit, and I have someone else entering to go into the deli, and they T-bone, I'm going to be party to a lawsuit. Now, my options would be to get a registered DOT vehicle and park it at that access way, which I'm allowed to do. And as long as it's a DOT registered vehicle, I'm allowed to park it. But I don't want to do anything like that. I don't want to have to come back for a site plan approval a year from now to put up a fence between my property and his, because I have people parking on my property to walk into his business, because the entire front of his parking lot is all handicap parking. It's going to be faster for people to park on my property and walk across the drive-through to get into the building.
Okay.
There's no parking in front of the building and on the south side of the property line facing Smithtown Boulevard. All the parking is to the east, and that's going to be filled with nail salon parking. And on a Friday afternoon, I see it around the corner from me. The parking lot fills on Friday afternoon with all the ladies coming to get their nails done for the weekend.
All right.
They're all going to park on my parking lot.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Susan Blagar, Blagar. I live at 290 Lake Avenue South, Wisconsin.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I'm concerned about the signage changing the character of the neighborhood. The neighborhood is not a built-up high commercial area. It is a residential area. Lancaster is a residential street. I do want to know if their signage will be turned off, if the lights will be turned
well,
off, like Starbucks, since Starbucks does turn off their lights at night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. There's going to be a couple of questions, all right? But first of all, let me have Dave, Mr. Flynn, as far as who do they contact about the curbs and
Sure. My recollection is the curbs were on
So it's-
on Lancaster, and that's the town highway department. And then with respect to the sanitary system, that would be the Suffolk County
Health
Suffolk
Department.
County Health Department.
Okay. So the curbs are for the highway department, the sewage are for Suffolk County Health Department. Okay. Couple of questions.
Okay.
Signage, is it going to be turned off?
Yes, the signage will be turned off when the business is closed.
Okay. What signs are illuminated?
The signs that are illuminated are the pylon sign at the corner, which is a permitted sign. We're not looking to get any variances for that. The wall sign on the front of the building will be illuminated. The small wall sign on the west side of the building is illuminated. The small, the little, and that, by the way, that entrance, that sign that everyone was asking about, is the entrance to the drive-through. It's that small little arrow sign. It's at the drive-through entrance. It's not at the entrance to the site. That's illuminated, and that's it. That's the only illuminated signs. And just to reiterate, none of the illuminated signs face any of the residence districts. Oh, and obviously the menu board, excuse me, that is illuminated as well, and that faces the west property. It does not face any of the residence district.
Okay. Okay. I'll have, what is the awning made out of? Vinyl or canvas?
The awning is a canvas awning.
Canvas, okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close. I'm sorry, you have it? I'm sorry. Good.
Carmine, what's the height of the pylon sign?
The height of the pylon sign is 15 feet, so we're not asking for a variance. That's what's permitted. And it's a 32 square foot sign, which is the maximum size permitted under the code as well.
How would your client feel if we limited the size of that pylon sign because we're granting, if we grant additional ground signs on the property?
I'd be willing to work with you guys.
Okay.
I also would be more than happy. I know there was a concern about the sidewalks.
No, you need to address this board.
There was a...
Excuse me. Excuse me. You do not talk from the audience. Thank you.
There was a concern about the sidewalks. I'd be more than happy to replace them. I had the
Okay.
same concern. They really are in disrepair.
Okay.
A lot of them are vertical and tripping hazards, which obviously isn't conducive to managing our property either. So we planned on taking care of those sidewalks. As far as the plantings in the back, be more than happy to go above and beyond to make sure that the entire property is blocked off from the residential. And pretty much just want to be a part of the community. You know, I keep hearing the term franchise, but I just want to say that we are a small business. And my name is Anthony Palizzi. I have a wife, 3 small children. I get up every day and I go to work. You know, and you know, I'm not a big corporation. I'm just a guy, just like the guy who owns the deli, you know, or the bagel shop. And I just want to make sure that's on the record because it's really important to me.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. Any more questions?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain.
I just had one other final
ahead,
comment.
quickly.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to reiterate the fact that the site plan, regardless of, except for the signage, what we're doing on the site plan is as permitted by the code. We would abide by whatever the planning department tells us to do as far as curbing, sidewalks, buffer plantings, and just also to let everyone know, any lighting on the site has to stay on this property. It cannot shine onto other properties. So we would abide by the town's ordinances with that.
I forgot one other
Thank
thing.
you. Yes.
Carmine, sorry. One of the people at expressed some concern about the cross-access. I noticed cross-access is denoted on your plans. What's the,
Yes.
is there a cross-access easement? Is it being
Yes, there is.
required by DOT?
Well, we're showing a cross-access to the site to the west that the gentleman from the deli was concerned about. Originally, on the plan that we had proposed before, that we were going with originally, we did not have that cross-access. We had that blocked off. But in conversations with the Department of Public Works from Suffolk County, they recommended to have the cross-access. We also had eliminated the curb cut on Lancaster Avenue to prevent any traffic from the site going on to Lancaster. But again, the Department of Public Works told us that they want us to keep, there is an existing curb cut there now. We're moving it further to the south to keep it further away from the residences, and that's part of what the Department of Public Works is requiring.
Excuse me.
Thanks.
You're not allowed to speak from the audience. I'm not going to ask you again, please. All right. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
It's ready, moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. All right. That concludes our hearings for tonight. Thank you so much.